Warm greetings from the high 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. It's hump day, everybody in America. Hope you all are well. Hope you've had a great week. Raining here in the high 10. This commentary is pertaining to the death, murder of rapper Trouble. Unfortunately, this black man was murdered inside the apartment of a woman that he knew. And we're going to dissect what happened in that apartment. I don't know what happened. I'm only bringing you commentary pertaining to the news. So therefore, whatever the news got, that's the information I'm bringing to you. Now, naturally, there are other creators who have he said, she said commentary pertaining to what the streets are saying. And naturally, you can't believe everything that the streets are saying because the streets weren't in that apartment. But you're entitled to your opinion of what happened to Mr. Orr. ABC News is my first source of information. If you'd like to give commentary pertaining to your opinion of the death of Mr. Orr, I will put the link in the chat and feel free to hit the link to give your opinion. Okay? And please be respectful of your commentary. The haters, they come in already. They can't resist. Thank you for your patronage. God bless all of you. Man arrested in the shooting death of Atlanta rapper Trouble. A man accused of fatally shooting Atlanta rapper Trouble has been denied bond after a confrontation that investigators allege stemmed from jealousy over a woman. This was uploaded yesterday at 2:36 p.m. A man accused of fatally shooting Atlanta rapper Trouble has been denied bond after a confrontation that investigators allege stemmed from jealousy over a woman. A judge in Rockdale County on Tuesday denied bail to 33-year-old Jamichael Jones of Jonesboro. Locally, news outlets report after Jones turned himself in to Rockdale County deputies early Tuesday. It's unclear if Jones has a lawyer representing him. A judge set his next hearing on June 15th. Jones is charged with murder, aggravated assault, home invasion, and battery in the Sunday death of Trouble, whose legal name was Mario Samante Orr. 34-year-old Trouble was found shot at an apartment complex in suburban Conyers before dawn Sunday. He died later at a hospital. Trouble, who was also known as Scoop, had collaborated with artists including Drake, The Weeknd, Young Thug, Gucci Mane, 2 Chainz in a career that began in 2011. A warrant states that Jones arrived at an apartment to find Trouble asleep in bed with Jones's ex-girlfriend, who woke to Jones punching her in the face. The woman told deputies that Jones and Trouble began fighting until Jones pulled a gun, shot Trouble in the chest, and fled. Investigators have said Trouble and Jones hadn't met before the shooting. Deputies found the woman with visible injuries on her face, WXIA TV reports. The woman said she had broken up with Jones a week earlier after he hit her during an argument about him not having a job and not helping her pay bills, quote unquote. Deputies said the apartment door had been forced open and they viewed surveillance footage of Jones entering and leaving the apartment complex just 7 minutes apart. Rockdale County Sheriff Eric Levette said investigators were visiting Jones' mother when Jones called her. The mother connected Jones with deputies who persuaded Jones to turn himself in. His mother was a huge resource in helping us apprehend him, WAGA TV reports, Levette said. The sheriff said Jones hasn't shown any signs of remorse, but does appear to be fearful. Trouble released a debut mixtape in 2011 that included the song Bussin', a local hit that led to more work, and 2 albums, 2018's Edgewood and 2020 Thug Love. Our thoughts and prayers are with the children, loved ones, fans of Trouble, his record label, Def Jam said in an Instagram post. A true voice for his city and an inspiration to the community he proudly represented. Rest in peace, Scoob. ABC News is the source for this said information. Thank you for joining me. I will now go over to the YouTube queue to bring you more commentary pertaining to the death of Mr. Orr. It's a very sick situation. Oh, mercy. And yes, my condolences and prayers to the family. Thank you all for joining me. Bond denied for man accused of killing rapper Trouble. There'll be more details in this said commentary, because as you see in this ABC News, you didn't hear that the woman also was trying to get the two apart in the scuffle in her apartment, bed, which is soever. But I do believe that will be mentioned in this commentary by WSB TV 2 News out of Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining me.
After the moments, a murder suspect was taken into custody. Jamichael Jones turned himself in overnight, just days after police say he shot and killed popular Atlanta rapper Trouble. Channel 2's Justin Carter is live now from the Rockdale County Courthouse in Conyers, where the suspect faced that judge for the first time today. And Justin, you learned a little more as to what was going on the week before here.
Sure did, George. Yeah, Jones was denied on murder and aggravated assault charges this morning. He was denied bond on those charges. It's all spelled out in this criminal arrest warrant here, as far as that judge denying the suspect in this case. And it ultimately lays out how Jones, the suspect, was able to get inside, force his way inside of his ex-girlfriend's apartment and shoot the victim in the chest. Jamichael Jones didn't say much as he stood before a Rockdale County judge Tuesday, accused of shooting and killing Mariel Orr, who goes by the rap name Trouble. It happened early Sunday morning at this apartment complex in Conyers.
Would you like your warrants read? No.
According to this criminal arrest warrant, police say Orr was asleep with a woman in her bed when she, quote, woke up to her ex-boyfriend, Jamichael Jones, punching her in the face. It says Jones then began fighting with Orr. The woman jumped in to help when the suspect then pulled out a handgun, shot the Atlanta rapper, and left the scene.
We wanted to peacefully end this case.
Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie and photographer Ryan Collins were the only crew there overnight at a parking lot near Southern Regional Hospital in Riverdale. That's where the 33-year-old suspect met authorities and turned himself in. They say he was convinced by his mother.
She did do the very difficult thing, and as we explained to her, the last thing that we want is a bad outcome.
Now, the woman did tell police after the fact that Jones lived in the apartment up until last week, when the two got into an argument and he punched her in the face again. Now, he is due back in court here next Wednesday at 1 p.m. for a commitment hearing. We are live here in Conyers, Rockdale County. Justin Carter, Channel 2 Action News.
Okay, everybody. Sad information coming out of Georgia. Naturally, there's going to be rhetoric pertaining to this crime. And people are going to think whatever they want to think. It's just the way it goes when it comes to true crime and stories. I was listening to another network earlier where I don't know. I don't really know what to say, to tell you the truth, because this is a very baffling story to me. It's being said that in a report, she and he argued about him not paying bills. I went live last night and I mentioned that in my commentary. For those who have made lots of comments on news networks, comment boxes about her having a man in the house 1 week after breaking up with a man. That's his house, blah, blah, blah. Why she got him there? Well, now the cat's out of the bag that allegedly bruh didn't have a job. So put that on paper, since everybody knows everything. All the arguing and fussing in the chat comment sections about that's his house. Why she got a man there 1 week later? Well, guess what? That man didn't have a job. And why would you break into a house, apartment that you allegedly have a key to? Bingo card. Because you wouldn't. You have no reason to break into a house or apartment that you live in. You have a key. The baffling part of this story is how did Trouble get there? Did he drive his own car? Allegations he drove his expensive car there. Did he? Because that would be risque. People talk. People get wind of who's driving what in the city. Atlanta's not a very big city, so people talk. Very risque, which would lead one to think he already knew the woman, that he would risk going to his apartment, one alone, unescorted by security, not having a weapon. Does he usually carry a weapon? So you have to ask all those questions. The fact that she says Mr. Jones had her car. See, this is where it gets dicey now. And we're going to chop all that up in this live. She argued with this man a week ago about him not having a job. As you heard in this commentary by the news, he punched her in the face. But what the news reporter didn't tell you is why he punched her, which is no reason to punch her. But she's calling him out by not working. That's possibly why she was telling him, I don't want you here, I want you out. Because you don't have a job, you're not contributing to the bills. But allegedly, a report, police report, that is what's been mentioned in the police report via another network, is that he wasn't helping her. That's why he put his hands on her last week. Because he wasn't helping. Hello, everybody. And naturally, you don't kick in a door if you have a key. But there are also allegations that she was still talking to Mr. Jones the day before the murder. What's that all about? Let's run it up. She has been alleged as a rapper and a stripper. Not that it matters who she is or what she was. The point is that a man died in her bed, was assaulted rather. She was assaulted and he was assaulted in her house, shot in her house, and Mr. Trouble ran out to safety, but later died at a hospital, as per the report I brought you. How did the two meet? What was the relationship between Trouble and the mystery woman? Was this a hookup? It is alleged that he was out on the town. There's video I watched on another network. I don't know if it's actual video of the night before, but he's sitting out with a friend, chilling. It is also alleged that the woman's in the video, but you can't see her face. I don't know. How did he meet her? Did he meet her that night, Saturday nights, while out? Did he already know her? If she's a stripper, maybe he's already seen her in the club that he patronized. Did he patronize strip clubs? Where did he meet the mystery woman? How did they hook up? How did they come to be? Did he drive his own car there? Very risky to drive your own car, especially if it's a very flashy car that people could look and see and say, I bet that's such and such car. You know how people are. But there are very wealthy African-American people in the Atlanta, Georgia metro area. Many people drive very nice luxury cars, just to say, for the record. Has he been to her apartment before? Because my friend was on last night, Miss Regina, and she said, I just got this feeling that they've already been talking, dealing with one another. Well, see, that's even more dangerous because then that means that she's been dating Mr. Jones for 3 years, and Mr. Jones had been living in that said apartment with her up until this incident a week before. Then that means she and Trouble were canoodling somewhere. And where might that be? Because if he doesn't have a job, then that means he would be around the apartment often, in and out. You all know where I'm going with that. It'd be too risque for her to take Trouble or any man back to the apartment with a man who don't have a job. Come on with it quick. Now, unless she's just a risque type of queen, she don't care. I don't know because I don't know her. But I'm just going to speak logically. Somebody that don't have a job, they would be at the house a lot, if you get my drift. So it'd be too risky to bring another man back to the house knowing the man is coming in and out and has a key? Or did he have a key? Or was he coming and going in and out of the house for 3 years? So you don't know, because we don't know this woman. Just getting all this he said, she said, and what she told the police in the report. Once again, was she messing around with Mr. Trouble while dating Mr. Jones? Did Mr. Jones actually live in the apartment for the 3 years? Did she tell Mr. Trouble that she broke up with Mr. Jones a week ago? Did Mr. Trouble care if she did break up? What was the conversation? Did Mr. Jones, or does he rather, have a criminal record of violence? Because now we hear that he hit her last week during an argument of him not having a job, her telling him he doesn't work, and 9 times out of 10, that's probably why she wanted him out of her house. He's not paying anything. He's not carrying his weight. And let's ponder if he's been living there for 3 years and no job. So that means she's been carrying the weight of supporting a grown-ass man plus herself. And as most of you know, Atlanta is very expensive to live. It's not like East Tennessee, this general area where it's cheaper living, or was at one point. Rent has gone up now. But anyway, it's still not as expensive as Atlanta, in the metro area. Now, naturally, as you go farther out of Atlanta, the rent will go down. It will be a little bit cheaper. But in the general metro area, it's a little expensive. So was she carrying the weight of this grown man? Interesting. They say he hit her. She says he hit her last week. So, ma'am, did you file a police report that he hit you last week? Did you file a report? It also says that he had your car. Now, this is where it gets real interesting. Because if we find out that Mr. Jones had her car, and 1, she didn't file a police report last week that he hit her. 2, she didn't report her car stolen, then that means, bingo card, you weren't doing right by having this man in your house. Because 9 times out of 10, 10 out of 10, he's got to bring your damn car back. I'm going to take you to church today. I think y'all know how I rock. Ma'am, what did you actually tell Trouble about Mr. Jones, your relationship? Because there ain't no way somebody's getting ready to keep my car out for a whole week and I don't report the damn car stolen. So that means what? You have a car number 2. Do you have a second car, ma'am? Just saying. I'm just asking. Does the mystery lady have a car number 2? Is there a car number 2? And did Mr. Trouble drive his car there? Did he pick her up from somewhere else? Because, hey, if Mr. Jones has her car, then that means she doesn't have a car. If she doesn't have a spare car. So how does she get out to take care of her business, go to work? Matter of fact, let's ask that. What is her profession? I'll wait. What do you do for a living, ma'am? Are you a stripper full-time / rapper trying to come up in the rap game? Is that how you met Mr. Trouble? Is word of mouth, studio recordings? What? How are you supporting yourself, and how are you able to get around without a car for a week if your ex-boyfriend has your car? Did you report the car stolen? Do you have a spare car? And how did you end up linking up with Mr. Trouble on the night before this murder? They say the two did not know each other personally, Mr. Jones and Mr. Orr. But indeed, it has been said that Mr. Jones attempted to rap at one time a couple years ago. Obviously, he didn't get a good takeoff into the game. So he's just been loafing around, living off the comfort of a woman. Interesting. But 9 times out of 10, he knew of Trouble. He may not have known him personally, but he's heard his name. Because Atlanta is small. 7 minutes in, 7 minutes out total. The apartment has 4 levels. Nice looking apartment complex. It looks like they have security boxes at the entrance and wands that go up and down to let you in and out of the complex. So what was the security box working? Did they have security? Actually have somebody in a security box? And how would that work anyway? You will call somebody to let them know, hey, you got somebody here at the gate. Should I let them in? No. Yes. Well, we know that couldn't have happened because she'd be a fool to get a call from the security box and say, oh, yeah, let him in. I take it nobody was working. Did you have to have a code to press in at the security gate? Just ask him. Because naturally, he's been living there. And if you have to have a code to get the gate wands to move, then that's how he got on the property, past the gate. He already had the code because he'd been living with her. Mr. Jones. 7 minutes in and out. He in this apartment, breaks in the apartment. I'm assuming kicked the door in with his big foot. Approaches the woman in the bedroom, beats the woman in the face. They say she had visible wounds, that she had been injured. Naturally, Mr. Orr wakes up. They begin to fight. It is alleged that the woman also jumps in to try to separate the two. And Mr. Orr is shot in the chest one time by Mr. Jones, and Mr. Jones flees. The problem with this story is the obvious. 7 minutes in, 7 minutes out. 4-level apartment complex. Where did she live in this apartment complex? First, second, third, or fourth floor? Stay woke. Nobody heard the door being kicked in. Nobody called 911. Was there a 911 call to the dispatch that somebody heard the door get kicked in? Hello, Mr. Brown. How are you, love? See, this is when people start speculating because, you know, us black folks, we do have a tendency. We just, we got to insinuate stuff. It's not to be racial, but we do this when it comes to celebrities getting in mishaps and drama and trauma, and even in the street. Girl, let me tell you what they said. But see, this is worse because there's a man dead now. And as one commentator network said earlier, it's the myth that a black man will either be judged by 12 or carried by 6. Hi, baby. And that's a sad myth for a black man, that you'll be judged by 12 or carried by 6. He won't die of natural causes. If he's a young black man, he'll die by the hand of another black man or black woman, perhaps. What happened in that apartment? Has she been still messing around with Mr. Jones? Had Mr. Jones been back to the apartment since they broke up? Obviously, she changed the locks because he kicked in the door. So that means she took away the key or she changed the locks. They say, rumor on another network, that she had been talking to him the day before, Mr. Jones, the suspect. What are they talking about if that allegation is true? Honey, I miss you. I love you. He's telling her he miss her. He love her. Baby, I ain't got nowhere to stay. Please, please let me come back. Or maybe she's saying the same thing. I love you. I miss you, but you can't come back here because you don't have no money. You don't have a job. You can't stay here. So where was he staying for a week? And as the police told you when they were looking for him, they searched all the places they thought he would frequent and be. Interesting. And lo and behold, they went to the mama's house. And she was able to talk her son into turning himself in at an area hospital. Investigators just happened to be at the house when he called her. So where was he when he called his mama? Good old mama. Was he a licensed carrier? Mr. Jones. Does he normally carry a gun? Hell, does Mr. Or was he carrying a gun before death? They said he was an avid fighter for nonviolence, gun violence, but that's usually what happens. The person who rallies the most to get people to put their guns down end up dying by a handgun. How unfortunate for him and his family. I'm troubled by the fact that Mr. Jones had her car. I'm gonna lean on that. Because like I said, did you report it stolen? And if she didn't, why not? How are you getting around without your car? See, this is when it gets dicey and looks suspect to me. Because I don't know anybody that's not going to go call the police if somebody doesn't bring their car back. What was he doing with her car? And what woman is going to get rides around town or to her job or wherever when her car is just floating around Metro Atlanta or anywhere? You're not going to ride my car around and I'm sitting at home. I can't get nowhere. No, I don't think that's going to work. But then we have females who are like that. They won't report the car missing, stolen, or nothing. They'll just wait to see when the person pops up with their car. Who does that? It's just very strange, strange, strange. Once again, how did she hook up with Mr. Trouble? Did he drive his car there? Because if he drove a fancy car there and parked it outside, it's very dangerous. A lot of you are judging him for going there. A lot of you feel he should have went to a hotel. He should not have gone there. But as my friend said last night on the live, perhaps these two have been co-mingling together. He trusted her. He let his guard down. He'd been drinking, smoking, doing whatever. He wasn't in his right frame of mind. And as I told her in that live, in the public, a man is a man before he's anything. Butcher, baker, candlestick maker, rapper. A man is trying to get his groove on. He ain't thinking about nothing but, I gotta have her tonight. So he wasn't a rapper Saturday night. Stay woke now. He was a man. And my friend made a good point. Perhaps these two have had dealings before. So therefore, he didn't need a weapon. She lived in a nice area. You will hear commentary that it's a nice area. No issues of crime, violence on the property. And from what I've seen on the news reports, it looks like a very decent apartment complex. Once again, where did he pick her up? Did he pick her up? Or did she have him come over? And like I said, if indeed Mr. Jones had her car, she had to have known he would be returning her car at some point. What are the odds the night she has a man in her bed, ex-boyfriend kicks in the door? Stay woke, everybody. I'm not here to say that this is a setup of any means. I'm not here to say that she called the man, texted him to say she's got company. But if she did, she was in the wrong. Because you put a man's life in jeopardy if indeed you wanted to play devil's advocate and bait Mr. Jones. You already know he's violent. He just hit you in the face last week. So telling him about any man, Mr. Trouble or anybody, will be detriment to your own safety and the other person's safety. Did she tell Mr. Jones about Trouble at any time in the past week or beforehand? What did she tell Trouble about Mr. Jones in the relationship? Did she tell this rapper, yeah, I just broke up, I put him out, oh, but by the way, he's got my car. Bingo card. If indeed she told Trouble anything, did Trouble say, hell, I don't care. It's not my problem. But indeed it became your problem. Because now he's deceased from this entanglement she had with Mr. Jones. Had Mr. Jones been stalking the woman, watching her coming and going, did he see them out that night? Did he get wind that they were out that night? Or was he sitting at the property watching? and happened to see Mr. Orr go into the said apartment where she lived. And once again, as I said, he couldn't have had a key because that defeats the purpose of breaking down the damn door. Just put the damn key in the lock. Turn the lock, walk on in. She obviously changed the locks. What is she thinking now? What has happened between she, Mr. Orr, and her ex-boyfriend, Mr. Jones? Does she have any remorse, any guilt of having that man in her house 1 week after breaking up with Mr. Jones? Does she feel guilty that having that man there led to his death? Has she been messing around with Mr. Trouble while dating, living with Mr. Jones? Did either party know of the other one? Has she been messing around with other men? Had he been messing around with other women? That's why she didn't want him there. Plus, he didn't pay no damn bills. He's violent. It's obvious. Had he been beating her up beforehand? Hit her once in the face last week. He's probably hit her beforehand. So now you have a violent person, allegedly, let's say, and they don't pay no damn bills in your house. And you just so happen to hook up with a fine black man, a rapper at that, who ends up dying later at the hospital for being shot in your damn bedroom. You can't make this stuff up. Will there be more to the story? Will we find out there's more to the story than just a man went to a woman's apartment, her ex broke in, beat her up, and then shot him? Will we find out there's more to the story? Will we find out that the woman is not telling the whole truth pertaining to what happened in that apartment? They say that the suspect, Mr. Jones, showed no remorse for killing Mr. Orr. But he's fearing for himself. Why are you fearing for yourself, sir? Oh, because you think he's affiliated down there in Atlanta. You know you're going to be in jail for the rest of your life up until trial. And then afterwards, if they find you guilty. So you know that you got to sit in that damn jail. And you know that there are other people that's going to be coming in and out of the jail that know Mr. Orr, Mr. Trouble. Now you're concerned about your damn safety. Well, so you didn't care about your safety when you kicked the door in. You didn't care about your safety when you hit the girl last week. You didn't fear for your safety when you hit the girl in the face and shot a man who later died. Now you're in jail. You show no remorse, but you're fearful. Well, that's just too damn bad, ain't it? Because you had no business breaking in that apartment. You had no business hitting that woman and shooting this man. You didn't know him. He didn't know you, allegedly. So what's the problem? You made trouble. Trouble. Because whatever problems you had with the woman, that should have stayed between you and her. It's not his fault. He's a man, just like you're a man. And you should know how men are. And that's what I told my friend last night. That a man is a man before he is anything. And in the end, you're only worth your word. I don't care if you're a butcher, doctor, lawyer, engineer, rapper. You're only worth your word. And we know a lot of men have an appetite for sex. So therefore, the title he carries is irrelevant. A man wants to have sex and giving a damn about who he is and who he ain't. He's trying to get his groove on. And 9 times out of 10, that's just what happened Saturday night. He hooked up with a young lady. He went to her home. And he got shot in her house. Unfortunately. I was trying to find a post that he had put up on Twitter. Not Twitter, but IG, I believe. And it was a sad, it was just him talking about life, how life is short. And it's true. Life is short. It's very short. And unfortunately, I believe they said that post was put up about a month or so. So what are the odds you put up this post and now you are no longer alive? This is very sad. Very, very sad. Community mourns death of Atlanta rapper Trouble. This was uploaded 1 day ago. 11 Alive is the source.
Complex throughout the day today, and all of them saying the same thing, that they're just in shock something like this could happen here.
First time I'm hearing, actually inside the apartment complex, somebody died like that. So yeah, it's a little bit, a little bit alarming.
Crime scene tape is gone, and there's no visible memorial at the Lake St. James apartment. That's where investigators say Atlanta rapper Trouble was murdered less than 48 hours earlier. Tributes are still pouring in on social media for Trouble, whose legal name is Morel Orr. Big names in the rap community like T.I. and Meek Mill all remembering the recording artist. The Rockdale Sheriff's Office says they believe this man, JaMychal Jones, shot and killed him during a home invasion around 3 a.m. on Sunday. Authorities say Orr was visiting a female friend at the complex when they say Jones forced his way into the apartment unit, shooting the rapper. Neighbors say crime doesn't typically happen at the complex, with mostly families with children living there.
Oh, it's pretty convenient, nice and tucked away, and 2.5 years is pretty safe. It really is.
Deputies say Jones likely knows the woman that Orr was visiting. Orr was shot once in the chest and died on scene. Investigators say Jones escaped before police arrived. Authorities are calling this a domestic situation, and they say that the suspect is being charged with home invasion, aggravated assault, and felony murder. Reporting in Rockdale County, Brittany Kleinpeter, 11 Alive News.
All right, that's the same information. News 11 out of Atlanta, Georgia is the source. So you hear the neighbors talking about the neighborhood being safe, no problems, no issues. This man's been there 2.5 years. It's a family-oriented complex. Children. What happened? How did it come to be? This man goes to see a woman and dies later from being shot from her bedroom. I'm going to bring you commentary that's 2 days old. As you know, the suspect is in jail and has been put into jail, gone before a judge, denied bond. The next hearing will be the 15th of this month. Fox 5 Atlanta is the source. I'm going to play you some information. I'm going to probably skip through because it's older information, but I'm going to bring you information where the neighbor gives their commentary. Hold on 1 second.
Did know the female, and it was a domestic situation.
Resident Loki Blanchett tells Fox 5 he heard it all happen as he was coming home to his apartment right across the hall.
As I'm going up the back, I realized that, they were saying they was trying to revive somebody.
He says he was in shock watching the scene unfold in what he describes as a normally quiet neighborhood.
To be honest with you, we don't have that type of situations or issues that happen in this particular neighborhood. So to find out that you have a local celebrity, that's inside your residential area, and this is what happened, it was like very, very traumatizing.
The Rockdale County Sheriff's Office does not have any leads on Jones's whereabouts at this time.
We did search the known locations that we thought he may be at.
Okay, that's older commentary. As I told you, they have him in the jail. But I just wanted to play you the information from a neighbor who was coming in that lives across the hall from the woman. He was coming home, I guess, late that morning. And he's telling you in this commentary that they're not familiar with that type of violence in the neighborhood. The apartment complex is pretty quiet. And I also played your commentary with another neighbor saying the same thing who lives there. No problems, no static, no malfunction. But see, that's the whole gist of the story. You don't ever know when something's going to jump off, either with yourself or somebody you know or a neighbor, because you don't know people. There's no such thing as quiet, peaceful. When the devil decides to ring the bell, he'll ring it and wait to see if somebody answers. This is a very troublesome story. Because no matter how it lays out in the end, if it's cut, dry, simple, and as I told you yesterday, the information I got from the news is that it's still an ongoing investigation. That is troublesome, literally. Nice looking black man, musician, now dead from being in a woman's home. I watched commentary earlier where there's a video that he had uploaded showing his parents the new home he bought for them. Naturally, he didn't tell them where he was taking them, and he surprised his parents with a new house. And just watching his mother pull off the blindfold and seeing her new house and pushing open the door was heartbreaking, because it was a beautiful moment that a man could afford to buy his parents a home. But now you're watching this unfold after a man's death, watching the video. And that's the scary thing about life, is watching commentary, photos, selfies, lives of people when they were living. And then to know he was brutally murdered visiting a woman is even more devastating. And it is heartbreaking. And I'm sure his mother and father, children, they are devastated. They are devastated. And the music industry as well. Lord have mercy. I was going to play some commentary from a man who has a channel. I hope he doesn't mind, but there was some information he had. A video he made had some very poignant commentary. And it was his take on this situation. You entitled to agree or disagree with what he has to say in the video. And I'm going to play some of his commentary. I hope he doesn't mind that I use some of his commentary for this live. But it's just a message to our African-American men that you have to be aware of the choices that you make. That you don't have to be out here in the street. You don't have to choose the street way of living. That God has afforded you an opportunity to better yourself with a talent. Your best bet is to perfect that talent, whatever it may be, whether it's rapping, sports, scholastics, butcher, baker, whatever. Doesn't matter. If you're working in fast food, retail, then be the best person at that profession. Be the best human you can be. And I think that's the problem with many men. They're not being promoted to be the best human they can be. And if you're not being promoted by someone and you don't have any self-confidence in yourself, you are going to fall by the wayside. That's any race. But we know we have an epidemic with our black youth and men turning to violence, the street life, drugs, selling, using, crime. And you need to know that there's a better way of living. That there's nothing wrong with going to work, going to school, getting an education, treating people accordingly, treating women, children accordingly, treating thyself accordingly. Because you see, you are number one, and you should be your first cheerleader. Do you understand what I'm saying? You should be the one patting yourself on the back, saying, I am somebody, I'm important. I'm important because, one, I'm human, I'm a child of God. Doesn't matter what other people think of me. If I have support from friends, family, whatever, I am important. So you got to love thyself. It's called self-preservation. And I preach that all the time on this network because many people don't have self-preservation. They don't have self-love. And one thing I've learned, and I'm speaking from a testimony, that one cannot love you if they don't love themselves. They cannot talk to you properly. They cannot treat you properly. They cannot respect you. And this is why we have the problems we have with people. And in our own race, it's because there's no self-love. There's no self-preservation. You can't treat me well when you don't even like your damn self. And until you like yourself, love yourself, you will never love anybody else. And you will never respect anybody else. This is commentary from a YouTuber by the name of Hassan Campbell. We're going to bring you that said information to his opinion on the rap game, the street life, black men, and their choices. And I hope he doesn't mind me playing this commentary, but this is a message to our youth, to our black men, our black women, and any prospective person that wants to hear the commentary. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $sign the Ganji, 129 Cash App. All super chats and stickers are welcome during this live. I'm going to play you this commentary by Mr. Hassan Campbell. Feel free to go over to his channel to subscribe. Thank you all so much for joining me.
Shall we begin? Yeah, shall we begin? Yo, check it, right? Some of y'all new to my channel. Some of y'all not. Do y'all notice out of all YouTube channels that this is what I focus on the most, the message, the streets? How our young brothers keep becoming a casualty of war. My older brother B.O., who raised me in the streets, my big homie. He said it's either going to be two things, but you got to choose. You're going to be judged by 12 or carried by 6. For those of y'all that don't understand what that means is, when you judge by 12, you'll find yourself in the courtroom like Young Thug and Lucci, right? Waiting for the judge to decide your fate. When you judge by 6, or rather carried by 6, that's when your family members is holding your coffin, your casket up in the air, and your mama crying over it, trying to figure out who killed my baby. And you know, the shenanigans that comes along with it when the pastor's standing up there lying to the church. He was a good boy. Nope, these dudes be having bodies. These dudes be gang affiliated. Blood, 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 blood. These streets have an expiration date. You can pick and choose to live a family life and raise your family, your kids, barbecue in the backyard, and grow old. Or you can live dangerous. Get your snot box rock, wig pushed back, sliding through the hood, going to see a chicken. See, in this case right here, rumors have it that Trouble was sliding through the hood and he got caught lacking going to see a shorty. I don't know the details, the ins and outs on whether both of them dudes was going to see the same shorty or he was caught lacking. Some say there was an argument over a broad. Then that song, you know, I don't think y'all realize that like a lot of my slang comes from Jadakiss. Jadakiss had a song where he said, I'd rather die from a bullet than a nasty bitch. They say the hood die young. All that mean to me is that the hood died, no, the good die young. All that mean to me is that the hood die young. Dudes is dying young. Trouble didn't make it to the indictment. He made it to the grave. Why is this the only option for us? Trouble didn't make it to the indictment so he could sit next in between Lucci and Young Thug. You know, it's up the crew. He didn't make it to the judge. He made it to the cemetery, the morgue, the freezer, organ donor, you know? When y'all gonna wake up? When are we gonna wake up as a people and understand that they're like, you're scoring points for the enemy? We all supposed to be on the basketball team together. But you dudes is scoring points and blocking shots for the enemy. I want y'all to understand that. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's simple. I'm not even going to make this video long and drawn out. The streets have an expiration date. The cemetery is open 24 hours. The morgue is open 24 hours waiting for you. There's a jail cell, there's a bed waiting for you. If the jail fills up and they feel like it's going to be more of you, they're going to make another jail. They're going to always have a jail cell waiting for you with some nice cold bars to come in between you and your loved ones. Yeah, let's get to that. Let's get to that. Hey, shout out to my boy Zip with the trip. Let's get to that, though. Streets got an expiration date. I get sick and tired. Some of y'all feel like I be clout chasing. Nah, I get sick and tired when I see senior citizen rappers that's 40, 45, 50 years old, that's already rich, that keep sitting up there. Don't make me slide. What?
I'd have heard it all.
Why is that the message? So many of our rappers are becoming a casualty to these streets. You dudes are the pandemic within the pandemic. You are the pandemic. We'd rather catch COVID than catch you. We'd rather catch COVID than to catch you. You dudes is the pandemic within the pandemic. Live and let live. Teach your kids not to kill my kids. I already taught my kids not to kill your kids. It's just that simple. But it's like Guru said in the song, some brothers rather go out just to get a rap. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? I got a question, right? And let me say this, man. Let me say this. All of these legendary rappers, they see what's going on in the street. They see what's going on in the music industry. Like Jay Prince, for example, right? I see he talking about whack 100, and I understand. But it's like every time you hear Jay Prince's voice, he's always talking about something ignorant. Why these dudes that claim to be so bout it, and it's mob ties, don't use their voice to put to actually just put a stop? I'm not saying that some of the people are going to listen, but some will. I sat back and I watched a young boy who was 18 years old lash out. He lashed out at the police in Atlanta behind Young Thug going to jail. And now he's facing life in jail. He looked up to Young Thug that much that he wanted to meet him in them jail cells. There's no mercy for us. We have no mercy for each other. And then the first thing you do when you get locked up like Young Thug is you start praying. I don't get it. Young Thug was bout. Is you bout it, fool? He was bout it. Living dangerous. He even got audios of this dude sitting up there making raps about banging at Lucci's mother. Those lyrics are being quoted in the courtroom. Slick talk. But now he's sitting in front of the judge with his hands folded. Father God, could you please take this cup of suffering that I poured all over myself from me? Young Thug was knocking at Satan's door. Young Thug went knocking. He begged to get into the penitentiary. And when they accepted his phone call and opened up the pearly gates and locked him down, now he's trying to figure out everything in the world to get out. Let that be a lesson to y'all, man. Why wait till the police come kicking your door in the middle of the night for you to decide that you want to change your life and you realize God gave you everything that you could actually possibly. God gave Young Thug everything that he could ever want in his life. Everything. And he threw it all away just to get a rap. Now he got music execs begging for him to get his freedom. And the judge denied him and said, no, absolutely not. You stay put in this penitentiary and await your trial in January, where 12 people get to decide over the lyrics that you spewed out of your mouth. 12 people get to decide over the people that's testifying against them. 12 people gets to decide over the burners, the burner phones that the police pass through the jails. For them to call the streets and say, hey, hide this stash. Don't do this, don't do that. Mm-hmm. Or do this or do that. Every conversation was recorded. All of that is evidence being piled up. How do you plead, young thug? Not guilty. What will be the verdict? I guess we'll see in January. At least he gets to face his day in court. But Trouble found himself in some trouble that he can't get out of. And it ain't no coming back. Let's get to that. Keep that in mind when you decide you want to be a tough guy in these streets. I tell you, live life as if you want to run and stay dangerous at the same time. Trouble didn't stay dangerous. Now the dude that aired him out, he got to live life as if he's going to run. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the police. They coming. Nowhere to run to. But you know what it feels like? To go to sleep at nighttime when you really can't sleep, when you know the police is hunting, and sooner or later they're going to come knocking down that door. Why we got to live like that? That's the question of the day. Hit that like button, hit that share button, and hit that subscribe button. And understand there's a difference between me and these other dudes and these other platforms. You still don't get it though, yeah? You really don't get it though, right? The streets don't love nobody.
Amen.
It's cold in that freezer.
Yes, Lord.
When they pick you up from that yellow tape.
All right, everybody. That's Hassan Campbell. Feel free to check out the content on his network. You're entitled to your opinion pertaining to the commentary that I just played, and also the murder of Mr. Orr, known as Trouble. The suspect has been apprehended and is in a jail with no bond with said charges, and there may be more charges to come pertaining to the murder of this rapper. It is said that he showed no remorse, but appeared fearful. And as I said in my commentary, I would suspect he would be fearful for his safety in jail because Mr. Trouble knows of people. And as this commentator said, one young man was willing to risk his own safety and livelihood to act out because of Young Thug being arrested. And you have people like that. They will ride or die on nothing to get a rep. And that to me is a very sad way to live. Is to go out here and commit a crime for no damn reason. No one's done anything to you. On clout. And this man is probably fearful that someone would harm him inside that jail because of what he has done to this man by murdering him in cold blood. And it doesn't even have to be someone that knows Trouble. Just somebody who liked his music. And if a person is in there facing life or 30, 40, 50 years, they have nothing to lose about snapping your neck in there. Because you have people right now who are free and they feel they have nothing to lose. And this is why they go out and commit the crimes that they commit. They're empty vessels. They're tainted, wounded, and they have nothing to live for. But as he said in his commentary, which is so important, when he was speaking about Young Thug, God gave you everything. You had an opportunity to be great, to do something with yourself, give back. But you chose to have a street person's mentality. Still want to be in the street. Spewing out venom on your tongue that 9 times out of 10 will come back to haunt you in a courtroom. See, you have to be very careful of the things you speak. It's in the scripture if you believe in the Bible. It's in Psalms Speak it and it shall be so. So you have to be careful what you claim. Just like claiming the death of someone, 9 times out of 10, that will be the same death that you have. You will die. The streets love nobody. Exactly. They never have and never will. When I get more commentary pertaining to the murder of Trouble, the investigation, any new information, pertinent information, factual information, I will bring it to the network. I will also post any new updates from the news to my community board. And please check out my community page where I bring breaking news stories to the network and post it there. Because some things I post to the board, I do not discuss in videos. But I thank you all for following the content today and my other content. And please check out my library. I have over 1,000+ videos. Couple of years of bringing commentary to this network. And I want to thank you all for patronizing. God bless you. And Mr. Campbell, I hope you don't mind me using your commentary, but I wanted to bring a message to the public and to our Black men and our youth that you are worthy and you need to act like you're worthy, and that life is short and there are no guarantees. And frankly, you don't want to be judged by 12 nor carried by 6. Try to live cohesively. Longevity should be your mantra, and self-preservation. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $BigAngie129 Cash App. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless all of you. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you.